While renovating our new home together, I stepped outside to grab my tools and heard my wife whispering to her best friend on the porch. Once the deed's in my name, I'm kicking him out like the pathetic little stepping stone he is. He paid for everything, and soon it'll all be mine. Her friend burst out laughing and said, "Smart girl, drain him dry first, then leave him with nothing but dust and regret." I walked over, smiling, and handed them lemonade like I was just the loving, oblivious husband. I didn't say a word. But that night, I started to develop a plan. She thought she was playing me, but I'd already changed the game. 2 weeks later, she got served papers at her office in front of everyone. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. All right, let's get started. So, I've never posted anything like this before, but I've been lurking for years, and honestly, I'm at that point where I just need to put this somewhere, because my brain won't shut up and my hands are shaking too much to text my brother right now. If you're expecting some Hollywood drama, scroll on. This is way more awkward, and honestly, it feels both more stupid and more brutal than anything I've ever seen on TikTok or whatever. I don't know if anyone else has had this, but it always starts small, you know? Like a weird vibe, one odd comment, and then suddenly you're standing in your own backyard with a plastic cup of lemonade and your whole life's upside down. So anyway, context. I met Eliza because of housing stuff that was so cursed, it's almost funny. Basically, I was renting this place from a landlady who was like obsessed with crystals and would randomly knock on my door at 11 p.m. because she felt bad energy. One day, I come home and she's taped a note to my door saying she's raising rent again, and also everyone on the property has to move their cars. She'll have them towed for spiritual cleansing. I'd met Eliza a few times around the courtyard, and she always seemed chill, kind of sarcastic, always had a story about her own landlord nightmares. One night, we're both out by the dumpster, dragging out our gross, broken IKEA dressers at like midnight, and she's just like, "You know what? Screw this. Let's just get out of here." Fast forward a few months. We end up deciding to buy a place together because the market was tanking and we both had some money saved, but not enough to do it solo. Yeah, people always ask if we were together then, and honestly, no. It was just a roommate thing at first. But you do a few late-night painting sessions and too many takeout dinners, and suddenly it's like, maybe I do want to see you in the morning. So we dated, moved into the place, eventually got married. A lot of our friends said it was dumb to mix money like that, but it seemed easy. We signed a bunch of stuff together, and I was always the one hunting down deals, paying most of the bills, doing the repairs. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was fine. We both wanted a fixer-upper. She liked picking tile, I liked knocking down drywall. It worked. Except lately, I don't know. Things have been off. She's been acting more impatient, like every time I'd buy something for the house, she'd say stuff like, "Oh, my kitchen's gonna look so nice when this is done." Or, "I just love how I decorated my living room." I kinda just laughed it off, like whatever. She's just joking, right? But she kept doing it. Even when my brother came over to help put together a bed frame last week, she told him, "Don't scuff up my floors." He looked at me kinda weird, but I brushed it off. So anyway, this weekend we were doing the back deck. I was reattaching one of the rails that kept coming loose, and Eliza was out front with her friend Laya, who is exactly the kind of person who posts about manifesting and then brags about getting free drinks at bars. I'm in the garage, rooting around for my drill, and I hear them on the porch. Not super loud, but the window's open so I can catch bits of it. I'm not even listening at first, just zoning out, when I hear Eliza say something like, "Once the deed's switched, I'm going to get him out. He's such a pushover, he probably won't even fight it. He bought all the appliances, paid for the floors, I barely put in anything except the paint, and soon it'll all be mine." I'm just standing there, holding a box of screws, like, what? And then Laya, in her classic way, just laughs and says, "Drain him, girl. Take everything. Let him pay for your next place, too." They're both laughing. Not just laughing, but like that mean girl cackle you hear from across the gym in high school. I kind of blank for a second. It's the middle of the day, the sun's out, there's dust everywhere, and I'm just hearing my wife talk about me like I'm a doormat. She's about to toss. I don't know if anyone's ever had that moment where you realize the person you're with doesn't even see you as a real person. Like I felt like a walking wallet. But I'm not an idiot. I put the screws down, walked around the house, and just smiled. I acted totally normal when I stepped onto the porch. Laya went silent for a sec, but then started giggling and fake coughed. Eliza smiled at me like nothing happened and asked if I could bring them some lemonade. I went inside, poured 2 glasses, walked back out, handed them over, and just sat on the step with my phone like nothing was weird. I could feel Laya's eyes on me, but Eliza acted like everything was fine. I didn't say anything about what I heard. Not yet. They went back to chatting about flooring samples and TikTok trends, scrolling through their phones and pretending I wasn't there. After a while, Laya got up, said she had to go, and smacked Eliza on the arm, told her to text her the next step. She gave me this look, not friendly, more like I was some dog they'd trained to sit. Eliza went inside, slammed the door, and I just stayed out there trying to figure out if I should punch the wall or just start laughing. I called my brother, told him my phone was acting up, asked him if he knew a good way to back up all my receipts. He said to just use Google Drive, and I could tell he thought something was up, but he didn't push. I spent the rest of the day finishing the deck, but really, I was just running over everything in my head. That night, Eliza acted totally normal, even tried to cuddle with me while watching some dumb Netflix show. I just stared at the TV and nodded along while in my head I started making a list. What I paid for, what she paid for, what was in my name, what was in hers. Every single detail. I couldn't sleep, so I just sat up writing notes on my phone. I'm not going to be her stepping stone. I'm not going to just sit here while someone tries to take what I worked for and treat me like a joke. She thinks I'm a pushover, but she doesn't know what's coming. I'm not going to say anything, not until I have everything lined up. But I promise, next time she tries to laugh at me behind my back, she's the one who's going to look stupid. I'll update when I can. If you've ever had to go nuclear, let me know. I'm not going to let her walk over me, not even close. Update 1. Okay, so if you read my first post, I basically caught my wife, Eliza, and her friend plotting on the porch about how she was going to get the deed in her name and throw me out. Yeah, I did the lemonade thing, acted like I didn't hear, but I haven't stopped thinking about it for days now. I wish I could say this all feels like a show, but it's weirder. It's slow and off and just real. Not even sure if I'm writing this for advice or just to keep my head straight, but people said to update, so here I am. So after that day, it's like every single thing Eliza did started looking different to me. She started asking about paperwork again. A lot. Not even subtle. Every night she'd bring up how it just makes sense for taxes if the house was only in her name. Or she'd mention her parents wanting to see the deed when they visit. She says it's for family peace, but her parents don't even come around. Her mom blocked me on Facebook 2 years ago because she thought I was too quiet, and that's literally all it took. I started keeping a running note on my phone every time she said something. Every time she poked at the deed, I'd write it down. I also started logging every payment I've made, mortgage, every Home Depot run, every transfer from my account, all of it. I went through my emails, found every single receipt. I uploaded everything to my drive. It's so much dumber than it sounds. Like I felt like some guy prepping for a tax audit, but it made me feel like I could do something instead of just sitting there. The weirdest part is how normal she acts. When she wants something, she'll joke about how she's the boss, but then get all sweet and clingy when she wants me to fix something or pay for something. Like we had a fight about the dishwasher not draining, and she threw a dish towel at my feet, told me to handle it since I'm so handy. I fixed it, whatever, but she didn't say thanks. Just posted on Instagram about making her house a home. Honestly, I started to get pissed just seeing her phone. So when she started pushing again about signing things, I played dumb. I told her I'd lost the email from the bank, said I'd resend it soon. She acted annoyed, rolled her eyes, muttered something about how some people just aren't responsible. Then she started talking to Laya more, like every night. I could hear them laughing through the wall, and every time I walked by there'd be this sudden silence, like they were talking about me. I decided to call my brother David. He's not one for drama, but he's been through some crap. I asked him what happens if one person pays for everything, but the other one tries to grab it all. He didn't ask much, just said to keep everything backed up, don't sign anything, and don't let her do any quick paperwork. I didn't want to tell my parents. My dad's out of the loop mostly. He's remarried, lives a few towns over. We text sometimes, but he's more of a you figure it out type. But I did text him. Just said, hey, if you were buying a house with someone, would you ever put it only in their name? He just replied, why would you? So that told me enough. Meanwhile, things kept getting more obvious. Eliza started making jokes about moving my stuff out of the bedroom. She said she wanted to repaint, and I'd sleep better in the guest room anyway. I laughed it off. But she actually started moving my things one morning while I was out getting coffee. I came back to see half my clothes piled on the spare bed. I asked her what was up, and she just shrugged, said I take up too much space. I just nodded and started taking pictures of everything on my phone. I'm not letting her gaslight me into thinking I'm imagining this. There was a night where she slammed the door in my face after I asked about a bill. I knocked. She opened it and just pushed past me, said she can't handle my energy right now. That's the kind of stuff I mean, not movie drama, just mean and stupid and draining. I started quietly moving important stuff out of the house, like things I paid for, receipts, my passport, whatever. I put it all in a storage unit. I also checked the bank account. Every paycheck, every transfer, everything I paid for, I made sure it was all traceable. I stopped transferring money to our joint account, started using my own for everything. She noticed, of course. She asked why the Reno fund was running low. I just shrugged, said I was waiting for a refund from the last tile order. She rolled her eyes again and texted Laya. I actually caught her scrolling through my phone once when I left it unlocked on the counter. I came out of the bathroom and she just set it down super fast and pretended she was looking at the weather app. I didn't say anything, but from then on, I started locking my phone and never left it out. The more I pulled away, the more she tried to act like nothing was wrong. She'd post cute selfies of us together, but then in private, she'd be cold as ice. Sometimes she'd try to get in my face, like I'd be watching YouTube, and she'd stand between me and the screen, arms crossed, asking if I even care about this marriage. I just told her I wanted to finish the video. She slapped my shoulder, not playful, but hard. I got up, went outside, called David. He just said, don't react, just keep documenting. I heard Eliza on the phone to Laya later saying, he's so checked out I could say anything and he'd just nod. She's not wrong, but she doesn't get it. I'm playing the long game. It's like the more she tries to push, the more obvious it is what she thinks of me. She's doing this because she thinks I'm a loser, someone who just pays for everything and doesn't fight back. All her life she's been the one to get her way. Her parents always bailed her out. She'd bounce from one roommate to another, always blaming everyone else for her problems. I used to think she was just strong-willed, but honestly, it's just entitlement. She thinks she deserves everything just for existing. And now that she wants the house, she thinks she can just take it. I'm not letting that happen. I started looking up what I'd need to do if I wanted to end things and not get screwed. I'm not going to write details here because I'm not looking for legal advice or whatever, but I'm making moves. The tension in the house is wild. Every day it's like we're playing chess but pretending we're not. She'll bring me lunch in the garage, then spend the whole evening ignoring me. She'll slam cabinets, stomp around, but then post on Insta about cozy night in with my love. Yayla's over all the time now. I think she's trying to make me uncomfortable. Like if she brings her crew around, I'll just give up and leave or something. But I'm not going anywhere. If anything, it just makes me more sure I'm doing the right thing. The last straw was last night. I caught her and Laya in the kitchen going through what looked like my mail. I walked in and they both jumped. Eliza said she was sorting recycling. I just stared at her until she shoved the papers back in the drawer and left, slamming the pantry door. So yeah, it's gotten weird, but I've got all the proof I need. Next post I'll explain what I did to make sure she never saw it coming. I'm not the one getting kicked out. Not this time. Update 2. Alright, so after that last post some of you asked if I was just going to sit and take it or if I was actually going to do something. Trust, I was not about to let Eliza, or Laya, who's basically living at our place now, IDK how that happened, play me for a fool. I don't even feel nervous anymore, just pissed. I want her to feel every ounce of stress she's been throwing at me for months. So the week after I caught her and Laya snooping through what was obviously my mail, things got real weird at home. Suddenly, Eliza was being fake nice, like over the top. She'd make dinner and then leave all the dishes. She'd ask if I needed anything at the store, but only ever come back with stuff for herself and Laya, like oat milk lattes and those dumb fruit snacks. She'd post a pic of us at home on her story and tag me, then literally not talk to me for the rest of the night. I think she thought if she kept up the cute couple act online, I'd be lulled into feeling safe or whatever. Nah. I started getting methodical. I stopped leaving my wallet or phone anywhere, except zipped in my jacket, always on me. I went through the joint account and made sure every transaction was either house stuff or things I paid for myself. I moved any leftover money from joint to my own account, which for the record, I'd opened years before I even met her. She noticed the joint was low and asked why. I just mumbled something about needing to pay off a bunch of Reno bills. She made a face and walked out, slammed the door to the laundry room. The next morning, she had the nerve to shove some forms at me with a pen saying we should just get this transfer done so she could finally handle the boring paperwork. I said I wanted to read over everything first before signing. She got all huffy, told me I was being paranoid, that I was making things way harder than they need to be. She pushed the forms into my chest, hard, then stormed off muttering to herself. I put the papers in a folder and locked them in my car. Later that night, she tried to go through my Messenger app when I was in the shower, but all my stuff's locked now. Not my first rodeo. I started playing up the checked out husband thing. I let her think I was distracted, tired, online all night. I'd scroll TikTok on the couch, headphones in, while she and Laya gossiped in the kitchen. Sometimes I'd hear my name, then a laugh, but I'd just keep scrolling. Most nights I made a show of going to bed early, but really I was emailing back and forth with David, my brother, about what the next step should be. He's not a lawyer, but he's been through enough to know what to look for. He told me to get everything in writing, only talk to her about important stuff by text, and keep all receipts. He also said to not let her see anything coming. So I didn't. I started gathering up all my important stuff, passport, birth certificate, old photos, even my video game collection. Yeah, I know, priorities. When she and Laya went out one afternoon, more like a 3-hour nail salon trip, I loaded everything into the back of my car and drove it to a storage unit I got across town. I didn't say a word. She never noticed. Then came the real squeeze. I started making her feel it too. I stopped paying for anything except house bills I could prove were mine. I let her handle the groceries and all the cute home decor crap she'd been ordering. She tried to get me to front a bunch of money for a trip she wanted to take with Laya. Seriously, I think they were planning to celebrate after screwing me. And I just said I was waiting on a paycheck. After that, she started getting snappy, making comments about how some people just aren't financially responsible. I kept receipts for literally everything. I even took pics of the new faucet I installed, the paint cans, the flooring. She noticed I wasn't jumping to fix every little thing anymore. She asked about the leaky bathroom sink. I said I'd get to it later. She rolled her eyes, called me lazy, pushed past me in the hallway. The tension got so bad even Laya started acting weird. One night I walked in on them talking in the living room. Laya straight up asked if I was okay because I seemed checked out. I just said I was fine, then asked if they needed anything from the store. They both stared at me for a second before Laya said no, but she kept looking at me like she didn't buy it. The next night, Eliza tried to start a fight over literally nothing. I left my shoes by the front door. She started yelling, shoved me in the shoulder, called me a slob. I told her to chill out. She slapped my arm, then stormed off. I didn't even react. I just messaged David, told him it was time to set things in motion. I called a lawyer the next day. Not going to say how I found them, but it wasn't some miracle, just a friend's recommendation. Took a few days of calling around. I brought all my receipts, the photos, the texts, everything. They said I was in a good spot, just don't tip my hand. I started sleeping in the guest room for real, which made her even more suspicious. She kept asking what was wrong, if I was seeing someone else. I just say I was tired from Reno stuff. She'd slam the bedroom door and text Ela for hours. Last weekend, I caught her trying to get into my car. She said she needed to move it for the driveway. I told her I'd do it myself. She got pissed, threw my keys at me, then left to hang out with Laya. After that, I made sure to keep the car at my brother's place for a few days, just to be safe. Final straw, she tried to guilt me into signing the deed transfer by saying she was feeling unsupported and maybe she should just go stay with someone who actually values her. I just told her I'd think about it. She stormed into the kitchen, started slamming drawers, then left the house. I texted David and my dad, told them I was about to drop the hammer. So yeah, I've got everything lined up, every penny, every receipt, every text. She thinks she's about to get rich and vanish with her bestie, but I'm not leaving anything for her except the mess she made. Next update is when it all goes down. She won't see it coming. For once, she's the one getting played. Final update. So, here we go. This is it, the part where everything flips. GL. I've read so many stories on here where people say, this is when it got wild, and I always rolled my eyes. But this is when it got wild. Not in a movie way, just in that real life, is this seriously happening to me way where everything feels kind of off and too loud, and you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop. So it starts with Eliza acting like she's already won. She's got Laya over basically every night, and their energy is off the charts. Like laughing at nothing, slamming doors, making snide comments about how nice it'll be to finally have some peace and quiet. She started moving my stuff into boxes, stacking them by the garage door. I asked her what was up, and she just shrugged, said she was making space for new furniture. I just nodded, took a pic of the boxes for my records, and went back to watching YouTube on the couch. I guess she thought if she pushed hard enough, I'd just leave and make it easy for her. Nah. She kept pestering me to sign the papers for the deed. Every couple days, she'd print out some new form, shove it in my face, tell me to stop being so stubborn. I'd just say I needed more time, or I was waiting for my brother to look things over. She'd get mad, throw the papers on the table, sometimes slap the back of my head when I walked by her in the hall. Laya just watched the whole thing. Didn't say a word, but would smirk every time Eliza got in my face. Honestly, the worst part was how normal everything else felt. I'd go to the store, grab groceries, see people posting their vacation pics, just normal life happening while my own was on fire. Even my dad texted me out of nowhere, asking if I was doing okay. But I just said, yeah, all good. I didn't want to get into it with him. I did call David one more time just to double check everything was set. He said, you got this. And that was that. So here's how it went down. 2 weeks after I first heard her plan, I had everything lined up. Receipts, photos, texts, all the financials, advice, everything. I sat in the kitchen with my coffee, scrolling through my notes, and watched her and Laya laughing on the porch. I knew what was coming, but I just let them have their little victory lap. That Monday, I made sure I was out of the house early. I grabbed my stuff, left before Eliza even woke up. I went to my brother's place and just hung out, watched dumb videos, kept checking my phone every 10 minutes. I barely slept the night before, but I wasn't tired, just waiting. Around noon, my phone blew up. Text from Eliza, first kind of normal, then getting more frantic. Why did I get served at work? What is this? Are you serious right now? I didn't respond. I just scrolled, watched the messages pile up. Then my brother sent me a screenshot from one of his friends. Eliza getting served divorce papers in the middle of the office, right in front of everyone. I didn't even know people still did that, but apparently it's a thing. She called 6 times. I didn't answer. Then she tried David. Then my dad. I just sat there and let it all roll by. By the time I got home that night, she was waiting. She started yelling before I even got through the door, holding the papers, waving them in my face. Said I was ruining her life, that I'd embarrassed her. I just said I was done and that I'd already moved what mattered out. She tried to push me out of the way, then slapped my arm, then started crying. Laya was standing in the kitchen, arms crossed, looking at me like I just killed her dog. I told her she should probably head home, and she slammed the door on her way out. Eliza tried every card she had, threats, tears, guilt, calling me every name she could think of. I just told her the house was legally mine. I had all the records, and she needed to move her stuff out. She shoved a box off the counter, screamed at me, then went to her room and slammed the door. The next few days were chaos. She called everyone she could, her parents, her cousins, even mutual friends. Most people didn't even pick sides, they just stayed quiet. Her mom sent me a long text about how I was a terrible person, and she'd always known I was trouble, but I just blocked her. Laya tried to show up one night to talk things through, but I met her at the door, told her to leave. She tried to push past me. I blocked her. She stomped off and called me a loser. Whatever. The legal stuff played out just like I hoped. All the documentation meant she couldn't touch the house, couldn't touch my stuff, nothing. She tried to drag it out, but her own messages, the receipts, the way she'd been acting, it all just backed up my side. In the end, she got some of her clothes, her phone, a few boxes of random stuff, and that was it. She tried to leave the place trashed, but I had David and my dad come by and help me clean it all up. No drama, just work. The fallout was awkward, not dramatic. People who knew us just kind of faded out. Some mutual friends sent texts saying they hoped things worked out. Nobody really took her side, not after seeing how she'd acted. Laia tried to keep the energy going, but with no house to hang out in, I guess she got bored. Last I heard, Eliza was crashing with her parents, telling everyone she'd been blindsided. But everyone who matters knows the truth. I know some people will say I should feel bad or I should have tried to work things out, but nah, not after everything. I didn't want revenge at first. I just wanted to not be used. But after all the slaps, the pushing, the way she talked about me like I was nothing, I wanted her to feel what it's like to have the rug pulled out. And she did. So yeah, I'm sitting in the house now. Boxes mostly gone. Finally quiet. I'm not going to say it feels good or whatever, it just feels done. If you're reading this and thinking about rolling over for someone who treats you like a doormat, don't. Keep your receipts, trust your gut, and don't give them the satisfaction. I'm not saying I won anything, but I didn't let her win. That's enough for me. Appreciate everyone who followed along. If anything else wild happens, I'll update. But for now, I'm going to make some ramen and just enjoy the silence for once.